Hey, I'm Kimani, and I am finally getting around to putting together my Onefinity CNC machine. So in this video, I'm going to open the box, show you what's inside, start putting all the rails together, and probably do the first homing test just to make sure everything's working. There's going to be other videos about some upgrades that I already have planned for these, and instructions on how to do the upgrades if that's your thing. So stay tuned and enjoy. First box. We have the controller. We have what I'm going to assume is an empty box. And we have the first X-rail. So, grab. And as you can see, that is a beefy boy. Oh. A lot more things in this box. So, with Team Onefinity plaque, thank you very much. So, it's been quality tested, so every machine gets one of these to let you know that they tested it before they packed it up. So you're starting off on the right foot. Another presumably empty box. Not an empty box. This is for my Z X50. I'm assuming these are more parts. Oh yeah. The gantry. And another X-ray. Okay, so first box says Z. These are all of my power cables, connecting cables, and bag of mounting hardware. Next box. This is the touch probe. And if you don't know, the touch probe is what you set on the material. The bit will touch the size and calculate the depth. So this is the touch probe. So if you don't know what a touch probe is, it's the device that you could put it on top of your material. The bit will come down, touch off, and then that'll know the exact Z height of your material. So it'll program that in for you before you start your cut. Then I also have a coupon, or not coupon, but access code to get some accessories from Rowdy Roman. He makes a lot of cool stuff for the Onefinity, so definitely check him out. And some stickers. Some other stuff. Thank you for your purchase. And there's one other thing in there that I will show later. So I'm going to get these unwrapped. So I threw most of the packaging around, but I would definitely suggest keeping the boxes and the styrofoam. Just from what I've heard, if you ever decide to move or sell this or something down the road, it's a lot easier to ship this thing in the boxes that it came in with the styrofoam, because it just keeps it all safe. So if you have the space, I'd say put all the packing material back in the box and stick the box somewhere out of the way, just in case somewhere down the road. Now let's gonna take a closer look at these now that they're out of the styrofoam, and then I'm gonna go get the Big Daddy. So like I said before, these things are massive. This is the Journeyman, so it is a 4 by like 3.5 machine. Takes up a lot of space on this table, but it is going to be worth it from what I hear. But yeah. It's a big one. There she is. Ooh, that is pretty. Whew. All right, let's get this out of the packaging. So you've seen me take everything out of the box, and one thing you didn't see is an instruction manual. So if you look back to that one box where I was like, oh, these are just stickers and a thank you card, actually, it's the QR code for the instruction manual. So instructions are online, so I'm gonna go grab my iPad and do this the way they instruct me to do it. All right, so I got the instructions pulled up. So let's see. Step 1, cut a hole in the box. Step 2, these are the wrong instructions. Hold on. Okay, so step 1, take everything out of the box. Step 2, take your X rails and put them on either side of your table. Make sure the motor is actually facing the wall, so facing away from you, unless you plan on doing something backwards. But yeah, so we're going to start doing that. All right, let's start with moving. I'm going to turn this rail sideways. Take this rail, put it over here. And I'm gonna leave that one roughly where it is, because this thing takes up pretty much the majority of the table. Also, I'm going to adjust slightly because I have this spaced out because I want the middle of this y-axis to be the middle point of right here, and that'll make more sense later. I'm actually just going to move this guy out of the way temporarily. And make sure my x-rays Alright, so for my table, I'm going to lean more towards this side. I think when I measured, I left about an inch from the edge over here. So the Y rail is about 58.5 inches from the outside of here to the outside of the other one. So I'm going to use that as my measurement to adjust these slightly, but adjust however you need to for your table. And then I'm going to push it back just a little bit to leave myself another inch or so over there, because you actually screw into the table, so I'm just leaving room for it to actually like dig in. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back. Okay, so now that I have them roughly in place, what you do next is you move the gantry all the way up to the front of the machine on both sides, and make sure that you can see that it's all the way to the front. And then you're going to take your Y rail and mount it on top of the gantry. So we have the motor on the right side, and you want to make sure this is flush against each other before you start screwing anything down. So make sure it's flush all the way across, front and back, adjust where you need to. Same thing on the other side. Make sure it's flush on both sides before you starting to screw or tighten anything down. Alright, so now that we have a screw in, what we're going to do is we're going to push the Y rail to the back of the machine. And what this is going to do is that it's going to move and adjust the back rails. And then we're going to take another 2 screws and put it into the back right and back left foot. And once that is done, those are secure, we're going to push the Y rail back to the front. Make sure your cable's out of the way. So now that it's back up front, we're going to take the remaining 3 screws and screw down the front left foot. Okay, so that now that everything's connected, the next thing we're going to do is mount the Z slider onto the Y rail. Now, if you notice, my spindle holder is a bit bigger than what came on here originally, and that thing I mentioned earlier in the video is that I am upgrading to a 80mm spindle. So if you are still using the standard 65mm spindle, that doesn't affect mounting the Z slider, but if you are upgrading to the 80mm, I did just record a video of me making this swap, so I'll, I guess, post a box or something like that. But you'll be able to watch that, put this together, and then come back to this video and continue on. But for everybody else, we're just going to go ahead and mount this by adjusting the rails so we have access to these holes. They have corresponding holes over here. So we're going to turn this until we can get access to both sets of holes. So yeah, as I was saying, there's a corresponding set of holes. So all you really got to do is turn here, and you'll see the slider start to go up, or if you do it the right way, it'll start to go up and give you clear access. So get it right in the middle. So you have clear access to the bottom and the top set of holes. Then you're going to take your Z slider mounting bolts, and because I'm using a spindle, I want some extra height. You can always adjust this later. I'm going to use the middle bolts here, and on the bottom to connect into here. So I'm just going to take your nuts, put it in the middle hole, line it up the best you can. In there. And then tighten using an M3 hex key. So, now that your Z is mounted, all you really have to do is connect it to the cord running here. Make sure I mount that the right way. Now, if you are running like a standard Makita router, you can actually take this plate off and run your power cord through the plate and out the back. So mine was already set up like this, and because I'm running a spindle later, I don't need to remove this, and this cord was already mounted in here. So yeah, you really just connect that cable. And now we get to the fun parts. So now we get to the brains of the operation, the controller box. So as you can see, everything is clearly labeled here, L2, L1, M3, M2, and so forth, about what actually goes in. We have 4 USB ports, network port, your power port, HDMI, and a parallel port for a breakout box. That is something I'll potentially go over in the VFD setup for the spindle. This is all going to be temporary just to show you for the video, because I plan on actually mounting my controller box under my CNC table. I don't have the shelf there yet, and some people might not mount theirs that way. So I designed my table to have room for it to sit there for now, but eventually it'll go underneath. Anyway, the cables also have corresponding lettering on them. So Y2, and at the under end, we have our M1 and our M2, which corresponds to the M1 and M2 on the box. So Y2 is the closest Y rail, because it's also the shortest of the cables. And then Y1 goes across the front. Now, like I said, I'll connect these now, but all of this is actually going to run under the table eventually. That's the way I have my table set up. But just so you know how to do it, going through the front. Okay, so we connect Y1. It snaps in there. Come over and connect Y2. Then we come over here, connect M1. M2. Then we get our other cables. This M0 and M3. And then we have our Z, which connects right in here. And our X, which connects right there. Last up, we're going to connect our power. I'm going to turn all of this around. So now that this is all set up, seems like a good time to let you know that I did not buy the touchscreen monitor because you technically don't really need it. You don't have to have it because this is the brains of the operation. So I had an extra keyboard, mouse, and large monitor that I planned on using anyway in lieu of that. I mean, it's nice to have right there, but with the way this is configured and can be configured, and with the new update, you can really actually program like an iPad to connect to this wirelessly and do the exact same thing. So, you know, if you already have certain touchscreen devices, technology, you can use that in addition to this. Or, you know, if you have extra hardware and maybe you have a lot of wall space and you want to put a really big TV up because you have bad eyesight. Who knows? I'm not here to judge. Anyway, continue. Okay, enough stalling. Time to get this going. So I believe this knob is locked, so we turn it until it clicks up. And power it on. Yes, we are going to home the machine. And just like that, you are set up on your Onefinity CNC. This by far has been the easiest CNC I put together. I used to have a Shapeoko, and that thing took hours. The only reason this thing took me hours is because I was filming it. So I would say if I wasn't filming this and I was just putting it together, I could probably get it done in about half an hour. You know, the rails are pretty much put them on the table, mount, screw everything down. The Z slider, mount, screw everything down. Everything's labeled, so it just goes and snaps together really fast. And once you home your machine and you know everything checks out, you can go ahead and finish screwing everything down if you haven't already. So thank you for watching. I hope this was very informative for you. I'll be doing, like I said, more videos about the upgrades that I'm doing. There are some, like the VFD and the spindle, that I'll be doing, and that'll be from start to finish. And then there'll be other shorter ones that I'll do about upgrades and just accessories that I plan on adding on later. So yeah, if you're interested, stick around, subscribe, and I appreciate your time.